Alrighty folks, we are back with you live from the 60th annual AEA Convention and Trade Show at the Ernest N. Morial Convention Center. It is New Orleans, it's party time, but before the biggest part of the party, we got to talk some business. David Gray is with us from Send Solutions and AirText. We talked with you last year. There's some interesting things going on at that point, but you've had a year now to really start pushing the market. Tell us what's going on with AirText.
So since last year, we've got a lot more customers flying the product, and we've learned a lot more about what customers want. And it's interesting that
and how crazy customers can be.
Oh, well, I've been in the industry a long time, and I know that. But there's several customers for us. There's the pilot is actually a customer. Pilot has needs to communicate via text messaging. The passengers, of course, that's kind of where we started, was the passengers, and thinking that was our customer base. And then the avionics shops, have there are specific, type needs for a customer. So what we've learned is that, first of all, the product works great. That there's been little tweaks that we've done to our software and our firmware, but the guys are on top of it, and it's working just phenomenally. We've learned that the customers expect something to be flawless, and so to deliver...
Well, it's aviation. Everything works perfectly in this business, right?
All the time.
Oh, yeah.
Right out of the box. Because they're using their personal device, because they're using their cell phone, they want it to be just, simple. And so keeping and making a product simple is an art, and we've been able to do that. But and we've had a couple of things happen. Just recently, we had one flight where the passengers on one airplane on one flight did 179 text messages, and that was exciting.
Teenage girls, I take it?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. I think there were some millenniums there,
gotcha.
But it wasn't the teenagers. And so, to me, I thought, oh, this is just a social application. But then when I talked to the pilot said, no, one person was doing business with someone in Hawaii.
Gotcha.
And it just bridges the gap. We have a tendency to think that when we're doing something on our device that it's just local. I had another instance where I was texting a pilot, and the pilot was on the ground in Ireland getting fuel before he made the transatlantic flight. It's interesting when you see it in use. So then I also had a chance when I flew on an airplane where we used it for customs. So it's a great tool for the pilots to make sure that you don't have to wait when you land, and that customs is there for you, and you've made all those coordination efforts. It's also still a good personal tool for people that just want to stay in touch with their family. So if you own an airplane and you're running 15 minutes late or 15 minutes ahead, you want to make that coordination, and it's nice to stay in touch.
Outstanding. For somebody who's interested in the capability right now, what do they do? Where do they start? What's it cost? What's the install like? Give us the pitch.
Okay. Well, the pitch is that it's called AirText. AirText is a relatively small box. It's about the size of a paperback, weighs just over 1 pound.
Okay.
And so what you need as a minimum is you need power, ground, and a coax. And we have the coax to a Iridium antenna. So Iridium means anywhere in the world, any altitude. There's just no limitation.
Straight satellite feed.
It's Iridium Next is out. It's just now coming on, so we think that'll be fully implemented in 2018.
Okay.
So we're anxious for that. But in the meantime, this product allows you to text message. So install-wise, you're looking at, you want to do this during a time when the airplane's opened up. So the airplane's opened up during a maintenance event, and so if they have to go to an antenna that's already there, it's very easy to do the wire run or reroute wires, or if they have to install a Iridium antenna. Full boat, the product costs just under $10,000 for AirText. The install could be, with complications if you have to put an antenna on it, could be another $10,000. So it might be $20,000 total.
Okay.
And that's just a ballpark. There's a lot of extenuating circumstances, and the FAA controls some things that I can't control.
Yeah. What are you learning right now from your customer base in regards to not only where it is, but where you need to take this technology?
So the first thing they said was, listen, I've got an antenna on the airplane already, but that antenna is hooked to my phone. Well, a lot of the phone systems have gone obsolete. Okay, so how do you maximize the utilization of the airplane? And that is, you would replace it. Now we have, this is our new product we introduced. It's called AirTex Plus. Same size box as AirTex, same wiring, but we have a bigger modem in there, and we have the opportunity now to do phone calls from it as well as text messaging. I talked to a Fortune 500 company the other day, and they have an older airplane. It happens to be a Lear 45, and they use their phone about 20 minutes a month. So if you fly 20 hours a month, let's say they do 250 hours a year, they're only using their phone, it's less than 2% of the time. So that's a lot of capability for them to do something else with that resource. So you could be texting. So now we've opened up texting. And so in that case, they've already got the plumbing in the airplane. We just replace the existing heavier, bigger, more power unit that's in the airplane with this small, lighter, faster, more efficient unit. And they can just hook it up. And so then you're looking at, even though this box costs $15,000, it's probably going to be less expensive than some of those other installs where you had to put an antenna in.
Outstanding. It seems to me that the capabilities that you've had and the evolution you've already undertaken suggests that there's an awful lot of room to grow here. But what you could do just with a quick maintenance report or things of that nature, condition reports, life cycles in the aircraft, then of course there's a whole lot of other data that could be utilized and transmitted appropriately. I would, and especially considering the economics of the system, this is an all-in-one box, isn't it?
Well, it is, and you know, we talked about the minimum. And the minimum we could do before, we talked about just running power and ground.
Right.
Well, we have 2 channels of 429. We have CAN bus. We have serial bus. We have discretes. We have the capability for this to do so much more. And so we're getting some of that feedback from our customers. And so we think that we're going to do something. There's a new capability that we came out with, and we have several customers that have multiple airplanes. If I can help you manage your business better, you would appreciate it. And that's what I think my job is as a vendor, is to come up with ways for you to be more efficient and utilize your assets. So we have something called FleetLink. And FleetLink is a way that you can, from a PC, contact the airplane and contact a pilot, a passenger if you'd like, but they could also contact that person back in dispatch and tell them that, hey, I do need a part when I arrive, or I have one more passenger, or you know, what's my next destination. So there's a lot of information that can go back and forth in FleetLink, and you don't have to be doing it from your phone, you can do it from a PC.
Outstanding. Where did all this come from? I mean, the messaging issue, information issue, airplane to airplane, airplane to ground, ground to airplane, all of it has been one of those things that's grown beyond all expectation. You would think that in an airplane, you know, you've got what you need to go someplace, but the problem is while you're in the air, there's still so much that needs to be done. And this part of the industry just grows and grows and grows, and yet at the same time, the expectations for this technology continue to skyrocket, meaning that guys like you have got to be on the ball.
I don't think I'm on the ball, but I think my customers are on the ball. And so where this comes from, and my whole philosophy with my other company was, listen to the customer. What can you do for that customer to make his job easier or to get more out of his airplane? It's an expensive asset. So customers always take you places. If you just listen to them and figure out a way to solve their problem, then you've got, you know, a great company, you've got a great business, you know, going forward. And that's what's happening with this product. We've now hooked up with some special ops people, and they have unique...
You must be salivating at the capability.
Well, they have unique needs, and so the products that are out there don't really address those unique needs. You need to customize to what the customer wants. If you do that, then you've got a customer for life.
Indeed. And you guys are fast and light in your feet with this kind of thing. I've watched you develop it and see the way it's been modified. I would imagine to the special operations community that they can keep you busy.
Yes, but back to our base customer, which is the corporate. Each corporate operation is a little bit different. So they're special ops in our mind too. So how can we customize this for them to get the maximum? If I can touch my airplane or my pilots, I feel like I'm in control. And in a business, you don't want to ever feel like you're out of control. So that's why we don't sleep sometimes. And,
amen to that.
And so this gives you that extra little step where you say, oh, I can touch these people, or they can reach out to me at any time. Because if someone has a problem and you can solve it very quickly, then life is easy. It's just when those problems sit there and fester and are out there for too long.
Let's talk about some costs of operation on these products. Tell me about that.
So the basic cost, there's two different ways of doing this. First of all is the data. Our first customers were owner-operators of Pilatus and some small jets. They said, give me a product that I don't have some wild number that I'm going to have to pay. So we said, okay, you can come in here at $300 a year. That gives you your first 1,000 messages, which might be all that they'll ever use, and gives you the Iridium connection and our server connection and 2 dedicated phone numbers. Now, for additional text, it's only 5 cents. So again, we've kept the bar, we don't want to, we've kept the bar high for our competition, but we're keeping the cost down. Now on the voice part, there are several Iridium subscribers that they can subscribe from one, and it's about $1.60 a minute. So they'll buy a prepaid SIM card,
right?
Gets inserted to the box, and then just as that time, that let's say they get 500 minutes or something, as that time comes up, they can just renew that. But that's the best, lowest cost solution that we could come up with.
Where do you take all this from here? What's the next big leap for you?
Well, again, you're addressing several different customers. So we have several things in the cockpit that we want to do for the pilots. There's a lot of things in the digital realm that are available. More and more products are being made available that were just made available to large companies in the past. So we're signed up for some things with the FAA, and I'll introduce that at NBAA. We also have things for the passengers that we think we could do some quasi-type email in the future. We're not there yet. As I mentioned, Iridium Next just launched their first satellites. They have 10 in there, and they're going to have a 70 total. And so we've already been told that we're going to increase our bandwidth. So we're trying to experiment beforehand so we can maybe attach a photo to a text. Maybe we can have a very simplified email. And then at some point when we have maybe powered antennas on airplanes, then we can actually get into a real hard internet type capability.
Now, where can our audience get more information on what you're doing and these individual products?
So we have 2 really great websites. One is www.airtex.aero. I've got videos on there and really good at explaining things and showing you how things work. And then I have another website, send.aero, send.aero. That's more of an overview because we do some engineering consulting for other industries, and so that talks about everything. But let me tell you one video I did. I was so excited. One time I was up in Portland, Oregon, and I was doing a demonstration, and I was in a rental car. And so I took some folks out in the parking lot, hooked it up in the parking lot, and said, okay, let's try this. So, I'm talking, and then I'm explaining how this thing works. Next thing I know, he got the message. So that was pretty fast. So we took a video that's on the website that shows we won, 7.3 seconds to go all the way up to the satellite, all the way down through the cellular and out to this person's phone. Now,
by satellite standards, that's not a whole lot of latency.
No, and that's what's amazing, and that's what's so much fun about electronics. But to know that I could have been, up in Alaska, or I could be, down in the Bahamas or in another country somewhere, and have that communication, it's amazing. It's a small world.
Outstanding. David Gray, I've got to tell you, we've been watching you for the last year or so, and watching the development. It's been kind of cool.
Yes.
More important, it's fun to see people find solutions that not only work but are cost effective. And good work. We appreciate it very much.
All right, Jim.
And more important, come back next year and really blow us away.
I'll try.